Today's video, I want to show you guys something I've been using to auto adjust SQL Server memory at startup. And so we've got a situation here where, due to cloud technology, we have the ability to adjust memory much more easily than we could before. Memory, disk, and CPU can all be done in minutes in a reboot, where before we had to go out and procure the memory, buy it, get it installed, schedule downtime, all that fun stuff. Now it's a matter of just going into your console, reconfiguring your server. Either you want to upsize or downsize the server. You can do it in minutes. You just basically, in most cases, you just restart the server, apply the different server specification, and your server's online and changed. But the flip side of that is that things that are dependent on that memory, like SQL Server memory, are easily forgotten. And so if you increase your server's memory allocation or decrease it, you want to adjust SQL Server accordingly. And the goal here is to make that an automatic thing instead of something you need to remember. What I've developed is a PowerShell script it's a simple script. All it does is retrieve the physical memory that's available to the server. Then it subtracts a portion of that total memory so that you can reserve it for the operating system. And then assigns the amount that you come up with in alignment with the physical memory available. So let's give you an example. Let's say we've got a 64 gig RAM available to a server. We want to assign 75% of the memory to SQL Server. We would just apply 0.75 times 64 to get our memory allocation for SQL Server, which will be about 48, 50 gigs, something like that. And then we'll run the PowerShell command that assigns that memory adjustment. And then what we need to do is create a job. And we can create SQL Agent jobs that run PowerShell scripts, which is what we'll do. And we're going to run that in the agent. So we need a way to schedule our job. And SQL Agent supports a schedule that will start whenever the agent starts. So this is a great option for us. It allows us not only, in most cases, to reboot with the server, which SQL Agent's always going to, if you have it configured, it'll start on start of the server. But you could also just restart your agent without restarting your database, which is very convenient. You might not want to schedule an outage of your SQL server, but you could probably afford to just restart your agent at some point during the day. And we're going to jump into look at the Excel script next. Okay, so let's take a look at our job. So I've got a job here named SSTS admin config SQL memory. And as you can see, it's only got one step. It's a PowerShell script. We'll pull up the PowerShell, make this a little bigger. And so at the beginning here, all it's doing is calling the get WAMI object, and it's getting the total physical memory, and it's putting that into this total memory variable. And then what it's doing is it's going to calculate 75% of that total memory, and that'll be our SQL memory. And here it's just converting this to megabytes. So I'm just dividing the SQL mem by 1024 times 1024, which is a megabyte. And then I'm going to invoke the spconfigure command, and I'm going to say show advanced options because this is an advanced option. And then I'm going to say reconfigure with override to make that setting effective. So we haven't done anything with the memory yet. We're just merely enabling the viewing and editing of the max memory megabytes value, which is going to be our next spconfigure command on this line. So we're just calling invoke SQL command of PowerShell, and we're running a stored procedure exec spconfigure max memory megabytes, and we're passing in that calculated value that we calculated up on this line. And then we're telling it what instance to go to, which is the local instance, which what that means. So this is running on this server. And then we just run reconfigure with override to make that effective. So that's our PowerShell script. Not that much, just a few handful of lines to get the total physical memory subtract 75% of it, and make that our max server memory value. So that's the PowerShell script. Now, the other part of this that's interesting is the schedule. I'm going to bring up the schedule, and as you can see here, this is running schedule type start automatically when SQL Agent starts. A lot of times you're going to do things on a time or something like that. In our case, we've got this special event type that we can look for of the SQL Agent starting. So that means that whenever I restart my SQL Agent, it's going to start my job that I've configured. Or when your server reboots and SQL Agent starts, you will also execute that command. Will do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. I hope you learned something. If you did, please like the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. Hey, put your comments below and your questions. You guys, the best videos that I think I've made are the ones that come from questions from you guys. So please drop them below. And if you're learning something on the channel, please consider sharing it with someone that you know. And that's it for today. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.